Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve again, with all the same cast, which is very stacked. You're talking about Josh Brolin, you're talking about Rebecca Ferguson, Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, Florence Pugh, Javier Bardem, and many more well-known actors I'm sure you've already known. I've watched this movie in the theater in a time where they almost ended the screening. It was like more than 1 month from the release date. Thank God I've got the opportunity to do so. The experience was... oh dear God. This is the best cinematic experience I've had in a very long time since Oppenheimer. Let's get straight to it. The cinematography is brilliant, just as before. If anything changes, it's even better. The black and white scene was so iconic. The sound design, the visual effects, and of course, the music. As soon as I left the cinema, I run like a madman to get in my car and put on the soundtrack playlist. It was so fucking awesome. I've seen Dune Part 1 on my laptop screen just a few days before I went to see this in theater, and the difference is wild. Everything I said in the last video about Dune Part 1 is just really better in Dune Part 2. The visuals is better on this big screen. The sound effect and the music is just perfect. The music sometimes make your seats shake, and I get to immerse in the Dune experience like I'm actually in that universe. Chills all over my body. That is something that you can't get while watching at home. The music defines each scene perfectly, and the best part was when the main protagonist learned to ride the sandworm. The electric guitar part just kicks in like a motherfucker, which gives you the Hans Zimmer-ish vibe. I'll never forget the experience. The story in this one is crafted very well. The first movie set up everything nicely for this one to perform at the very best level that you could ever imagine. It just picks up from part 1 and give you the story straightforward without needing to explain a lot of things like part 1. Of course, it still explains some things, some new things, but some terms or some established things in part 1, they won't bother to explain it again. That is why you have to watch the first movie before this one. The journey of the main protagonist is very interesting and way more emotional than the first movie. This time you could actually feel the weight of the character needs to carry during the film. Not just the main character, also the supporting characters and the side characters get to shine even brighter than before. The one who steals the show in this movie is definitely, of course, Rebecca Ferguson for me. She plays a character to the absolute perfection. I've known her from Mission Impossible, and her character in that movie was also wonderful. I'd like to shout out to Timothée Chalamet as well. As the main character, I've never seen any of his movies before, but his performance is really outstanding. It's a 5-star performance from him. I can really see his character descend into madness or whatever the case in that movie, because I don't want to spoil it. He showed to me that he has all the potential to grow to be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood in the future, because he really captures the essence of the Paul Atreides character. We also get to see Javier Bardem character simping for the main character in almost every scene. Then you have Zendaya plays an interesting character with love interest with the main character, and I get to feel what each character is here for. What do they want? How do they view this world? We get to explore more characters in the higher-ups, their long-term plans to politically control the world. The villain in this movie gets very little screen time, but every time he got that screen time, he makes sure to make the most out of it. That could be the only thing I'm upset about this movie. You know, the villain doesn't show up much. I mentioned the last movie doesn't reach the boiling tension and it kinda ended on a very low note. But this movie just blows me away with all 3 acts completely nailed it. The setup from the first act to the third act is smoother than ever. Since the first act, we get breathtaking action scenes after breathtaking action scenes. Even the scenes without any action also made me feel the great sequences from one to another connecting each other perfectly. The third act is the epitome of reaching gear 4 in the movie. Everything that got set up, even from the first movie, comes together and finished with a bang. If that's not a sci-fi masterpiece, what is? I come out of the cinema chanting Lisan Al-Gaib to myself like a fucking lunatic. And I also look forward to Dune Messiah, which is the part 3 and, I don't know, probably the final part.
Nope.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a whopping 10 out of 10. And this has all the potential to become Movie of the Year 2024. See you in the next video. Goodbye.